We are born free, and we will die free. The time in between, though, that's complicated. In that time, governments, institutions, and our egos will limit our ability to find true freedom in this life. These are real stories of real people overcoming the odds, persevering in justice, and unlocking their potential. Welcome to Finding Freedom. Here's your host, John Oderman.
What's happening, everybody? Welcome to a special edition of Finding Freedom here on the Lions of Liberty Podcast Network. Why is it special? Well, because I'm recording this on Monday, December 2nd, and normally I never record on a Monday. Normally my show is just released on the podcast feeds on Monday, so you're getting a little late-breaking show action for a couple reasons. And I will get into that shortly here. But before I do that, I want to let you know something very important. And if I was a smart person, I would have one of these Lions of Liberty Christmas mugs that I'm going to talk about. I'd have it here with me because I have a whole box of them downstairs. But I'm an idiot and just realized I forgot to bring them upstairs with me to record this show. So maybe Brian will have his on Wednesday, hopefully. If not, I'll show you on Friday on Memoirs, and then for next week's episode, you'll be able to see one. But we have our Lions of Liberty Christmas mugs. They're already going to be going out already to all of our top-tier Lions of Liberty Pride members, people who've been supporting us for a long time. Those are going to be going out. We thank you all for your support. If you would like to get one, you can either join at that level, which is $25 and up, or if you're already a member of the Lions of Liberty Pride, all you got to do is convert from a monthly membership to an annual membership, and we'll send you a mug. Or if you're not a member, you just join as an annual member at any membership level, and we will send you a mug. As simple as that. They're awesome. I'm really happy with them. We actually have some other goodies that we're going to be able to throw in the box with that as well. Thanks to a friend of the show, Jason, over at Horrible Designs, who got these mugs printed up. Just incredible turnaround time. I can't say enough about how easy it was to work with Jason, and how much of an idiot I am for not remembering to bring the mug upstairs to have it with me right now before going live here and showing you all in the video. But anyway, it is what it is. So today's show, it's going to be a little short, right? And I'm recording this late on Monday. Why? Well, it was Thanksgiving weekend, and that means that I'm hunting. Pennsylvania rifle season starts now on the Saturday after Thanksgiving. So I was out hunting. And prior to going hunting, of course, you have Thanksgiving on Thursday. And my Thanksgiving this year was a little bit different than normal because I was sick with the stomach bug, the old stomach flu. My daughter brought it home from school last Monday, a week ago. And 99% of the time, 99% of the time, I ain't able to avoid the stomach, any sort of stomach virus. Normally it doesn't touch me, but for some reason, this one got me. You know, it wasn't the throw up kind. It was the other kind, thankfully. But more than anything, it was just, I was wiped out. Thanksgiving Day, I was just down for the count. And the night before was the worst. From like 3 a.m., Thanksgiving morning, I guess technically, until like 10 a.m., it was bad. I had no energy, almost freaking fainted and hit my head in the bathroom. It was a mess. It was a mess. But so hopefully everyone else had a better Thanksgiving than I did. I did feel well enough by the end of the day, though, that my wife brought back some leftovers from the family dinner, and I had some turkey and stuffing and mashed potatoes, and everything was good. So that was good. At least I got some turkey on Turkey Day. But things turned around quickly. Friday, I'm out the door, going up north to meet my buddy to go hunting. I had a great trip. I got a doe, didn't get a buck. I still have time. I'll still be hunting here for the next 2 weeks, local to where I live. But what's exciting for me about this weekend, and other hunters will understand this, is when you go hunting with someone who has never gotten a deer before. When you go deer hunting with someone who's never gotten a deer. And my buddy's friend, he's been hunting for years, and he had never gotten a deer. And this weekend, he got his first doe and his first buck. So it's awesome when you're able to experience that with someone else, show them the ropes, show them how to gut a deer, show them how to hang it and skin it and quarter it. That's awesome, man. And to be able just to pass that on, that knowledge to someone else that my dad passed on to me is something that I really do. I treasure, to be able to do something like that. So I'm sure other hunters can relate to that. I'm not sure if my daughter is ever going to go hunting. I highly doubt it. So I probably won't get to pass on the knowledge to her, but maybe to my nephews. Maybe I can pass on to them down the road, or maybe other random people that I come across, because it's important. I mean, and most people out there have no idea the first thing to do in order to gut and process an animal. So such an important life skill in so many ways. Just understanding where meat comes from, this the sacrifice of the animal, the process, when you shoot a deer, the emotional roller coaster that you go through when you shoot it. I think people who are not hunters have some sort of misconception that hunters are just ruthless killers, and when we kill an animal, we just laugh and say, screw that animal. It's totally different than that, man. It's emotional. It's spiritual when you take an animal's life, for sure. And then turning that animal that you took the life into meat that you're able to put on the table, make into delicious meals. It's just an incredible thing to go through. So it was cool to be able to see someone go through that experience for the first time this past weekend. All right, so getting into today's show. I am mostly going to keep this show short because I don't have a lot of time. And also, I hear that short shows do better, so maybe we'll test that out. I don't remember if I probably haven't ever kept a show less than a half hour. I'm going to try my best to do it this time. So I'm going to talk about two things. I'm going to talk about very briefly, I don't know what's going on with keep coughing here. Very briefly about Trump's cabinet picks. I'm not going to do a deep dive right now. I'll save that for later, maybe January, February. Maybe until after, some of these picks actually get through, and do more of a deep dive on them. Maybe bring a guest on to dig in on a few of them. Could be fun. If you have ideas, send them my way. So I'll do a quick recap of that, of Trump's potential picks. Of course, they're not confirmed. And then I want to talk about this Hunter Biden, Joe Biden pardon. And I think a lot of different groups are really missing what's happening here. There's a lot of people who get it. I've seen on Twitter. They really get what's happening. But I think some people are kind of missing the main point, the main cover-up. I'll tease it at that. So to talk about Donald Trump. And, I've had a lot of back and forth on Twitter with other libertarians, other freedom lovers, other people who I know voted for Trump, but might not have been fully on board, or maybe didn't even vote for Trump, and maybe they're just we're kind of rooting for him. And, I know a lot of people who've been disappointed by some of Trump's picks, mainly the ones that are more neoconish, that are more Israel first, that mentality. And I'll be the first to say, of course, it's disappointing. I mean, of course, I would have, I'm not excited about Marco Rubio as Secretary of State. It's not someone I would have picked to be Secretary of State. But you got to understand, for picks like that, the way that I view it, it's not even a view, it's just an expectation that I had coming in. I expected that. So when I said that I was supporting Trump, voting for Trump, I knew that Trump was, an Israel guy, just like every single politician in the United States of America. Literally every major party politician is going to be putting Israel first. So that's just what it is. So I wasn't. I was expecting, your Secretary of State is going to be some neocon. Marco Rubio is better than Mike Pompeo. I'll take that. I mean, that's a little bit of a win, if you can call it that. Mike Pompeo is just the worst person next to Dick Cheney. He's horrible. But the reality that I view this through is that we were never going to have someone who was going to be critical of Israel in that Secretary of State, Secretary of Defense role. You just weren't going to have it on any level, from a Trump administration, from any sort of other Republican administration, from anyone that would have won, even on the Democrat side. Kamala would have done the same thing. So I take the Israel part, off the table. And I just look at everything else, because it's not something that would be different under any other circumstances, which, of course, we can complain about that. We can criticize it, and we should. But when I'm reviewing these picks at a high level right now, I'm just taking it off the table. So when I look at someone like Tulsi Gabbard, Director of National Intelligence, sure, she has some bad foreign policy views, war on terror, things like that. But when you look at Director of National Intelligence, overseeing your intelligence agencies, CIA, FBI, someone who was placed on a TSA no-fly list by those same intelligence agencies, I think it's a great pick. I think it's a perfect place for her. I think she will do very well in that role. She's coming in from the outside, not being entrenched in the intelligence community. I'm excited to see what happens there and what she does. Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy at Doge. I think this is also a very good picks. I like that it's two of them. I think it's kind of funny. People have made fun of government inefficiency, picking two people to head up one department. It's I think it's I think that's definitely a valid criticism, but at the same time, you look at Elon Musk, the guy doesn't have time. I don't know how he has time to do the stuff that he does with Twitter and SpaceX and Tesla. It's insane that I don't know how he's tweeting. How is he having time to send tweets? How does he have any time to contribute to Doge? So Elon will probably be more of like an advisory type role, I would guess. I would think Vivek will be doing more of the heavy lifting, if you call it that, type of things, and getting the directing the data analysts and pulling the reports. He won't be pulling the reports himself, but directing that, and then coming together with Elon for recommendations, I'm sure, and leaning on Elon for some input. But I think it's good that you have diverse opinions there. You have a diversity of opinions there, especially when you're looking at the best ways to hopefully dismantle, at the very least, seriously reform, and definitely cut a lot of government inefficiency. So I like that. I do think an interesting take that I heard, though, friend of the show, John Ziegler, from the Death of Journalism podcast, one of my favorite podcasts. I don't agree with John on everything, but he does have interesting takes, and he has a theory that Trump put Vivek Ramaswamy in that role to sideline him because Trump doesn't trust him. They're too much. They're too much alike, and there is something that happened. John Ziegler had a guest on whose name is escaping me, who ran a PAC for Donald Trump this past campaign cycle. He used to work for Trump also, and his name is totally escaping me. But he had some inside information that Trump was very upset with Vivek during the, after Joe Biden called Trump supporters garbage, and Trump had the rally wearing the fluorescent jacket, the photo op with the garbage truck. Trump was upset allegedly because Vivek did that first, showing up to a speaking engagement as a surrogate for Trump out on the campaign trail with a garbage truck doing that same shtick. And the rumor is Trump got very upset. So Ziegler thinks that Vivek was put in this role to sideline him, not to get a place in the cabinet, and also not to become senator in Ohio to replace J.D. Vance, which I think is it's possible. I really don't care if that's what happened. Sure, that's what happened. I do know that Trump and Vivek are very similar type personalities, which is why I always said, and Brian and I disagreed about this, I always said there was no chance that Vivek was going to be Trump's VP. Way too similar. They're both way too charismatic. You don't put two people like that on the same presidential ticket. It's just too much conflict. And honestly, there's same with Elon and Donald Trump. There's just a matter of time until those two butt heads. So it's good that you have Vivek in there too. I guess if three of them butting heads is better than just two. I don't know. Anyway, all right, moving on. Rapid fire. Robert F. Kennedy, Secretary of the Health and Human Services. Fantastic. I mean, sure, you can criticize Robert F. Kennedy on his environmental stances. You can criticize him on his foreign policy towards Israel. He's fantastic when you're looking at criticizing vaccines. Fantastic in looking at getting to the root cause from a pharmaceutical standpoint. Is there some pharmaceutical tie between school shootings and pharmaceutical drugs? He talked about that at PorcFest when he gave his speech. He wants to get to that data. He wants to get to the vaccine data. He wants to get harmful dyes and toxins out of food. And I've seen pushback from libertarians who have said, well, you can't just say I'm going to ban these dyes and toxins and high fructose corn syrup out of food. Just let the market sort it out. Just tell people it's bad. Here's the problem. People know it's bad, and they still giving it to their kids anyway, which is not good. It's not good. And even if there was a way, you start labeling things or through free market mechanisms, we really communicate, which food is healthy, doesn't have these dyes and toxins, and which has them. Even so, the price difference and price discrepancy that has been created over the years and years of, especially if you look at something like high fructose corn syrup, that is, a major ingredient and sweetener in, things like Coca-Cola and all kinds of candies and processed foods. High fructose corn syrup, sure, we should end those subsidies immediately. At the same time, there's been already such an infrastructure built for high fructose corn syrup that just ending the subsidies is not enough, because it's been decades of corn subsidies that have built up this infrastructure. If you just end the subsidies, it's not just going to go away. It's not just going to be naturally competitive again, that the price of high fructose corn syrup would just go up immediately, and you'll be able to see make a market-based decision, and then you'll see a comeback for sugar because the artificially manipulated price of high fructose corn syrup. It's not just all of a sudden just going to go through the roof just when you remove the subsidies, because there's all kinds of infrastructure there as well. But anyway, Robert F. Kennedy, fantastic pick. This show is not looking like it's going to be under a half hour. All right. Next, Kash Patel. It's going to be the last one I'm going to do today. I like Kash Patel. Honestly, I didn't know a ton about Kash Patel. A couple things that I like. I like his background that he has with regards to the Russia investigation. I like that he's been an open reform advocate for reforming the FBI, for reforming these intelligence agencies. I like how he wants to get the FBI back to actually, doing what they were chartered to do, and not, going after American citizens, but investigating crimes. That is the job of the FBI. And I like that he's an outsider. He does have the intelligence level background from previous roles that he's been in, but he's not a career FBI type person. He's able to come in from the outside and influence change, hopefully radically change the way that the FBI runs. So love the selection of Kash Patel, and hopeful that Trump is able to push it through. All right, moving on to the Hunter Biden pardon reaction, or as I like to say, Joe Biden covering the Biden crime family syndicate's tracks. So, in Joe Biden's statement, he said something to the effect of, I signed the pardon for my son Hunter, and from the day I took office, I said I would not interfere with the Justice Department's decision-making, blah, blah, blah. Watch had been selectively and unfairly prosecuted, blah, 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 blah. So essentially he says it's clear that Hunter was treated differently, and that's why he's doing the pardon. Because most people with those gun charges, most people who were evading their taxes will not be charged with felonies and convicted of felonies. Well, I have a little bit of a different viewpoint on why those charges were even brought up. I think the whole thing was a distraction to distract from the real crimes that were going on with Burisma in Ukraine and with everything that the Biden crime family syndicate was doing in China. And I'll get to that in just a minute here. I have a video clip to play, but we did talk about Vivek Ramaswamy earlier, and the man deserves some freaking credit here for just being on the nose. I mean, the guy just gets things right. And why is it not showing me? Somehow I'm not able to grab the picture that I had. It's not giving me an option. So I had a tweet. I have a tweet from Vivek where, there it is. Tweet from Vivek where he says the Hunter Biden trial is a smokescreen. It's designed to make the prosecution of Trump appear nonpartisan. He said this months ago. This tweet is from months ago. Yet the outcome of the Hunter trial doesn't matter because Joe Biden can and will pardon him. And he did. After Biden said he would not, after Biden's press secretary said 10, 20, 30 times that he would not pardon him. Vivek continues, the trial's time is no coincidence right after the Trump conviction, but set to finish before Joe Biden leaves the White House. Absolutely. Gave him plenty of time to pardon Hunter Biden. And also from a timing standpoint, I do think that it's interesting that this pardon happens right after Kash Patel is put forward by Trump to head the FBI. So is there something there? Is there something to that? Maybe. What I don't understand, though, and doesn't make any sense, and I have a theory on this. Why would Joe Biden, and it's not Joe Biden making this decision, it's Joe Biden, his advisors, Barack Obama, all the people pulling the strings for the Democrat Party, for the Democrat elites, made the decision to issue this pardon the Sunday after Thanksgiving. Why they chose to do that, and why they didn't choose to do it on the Wednesday before Thanksgiving or the Friday after Thanksgiving, when it would have been completely buried by the holiday weekend. Instead, they lined it up for it to be talked about on the news, on Twitter, on all the podcasts, on Finding Freedom. They lined it up for it to be talked about all week long with nothing else to knock it out of the news cycle. So what I think happened is, I think there's some people who are pulling the strings for Biden, some of the puppeteers who want to ruin his legacy and don't like Joe Biden. And it really doesn't even make sense. I can't understand any other reason why they would do it this way. It doesn't make any sense. So that's an interesting thing to consider there. So next, when we talk about being a smokescreen, when I talk about Joe Biden issuing this pardon as a smokescreen, so it's important to remember, in case you didn't read Joe Biden's full statement on pardon Hunter Biden, Joe Biden pardoned Hunter Biden for all crimes that he had been charged with, and anything over a 10-year period going back to 2014 and ending December 1st, 2024, which was yesterday, that he had not been charged with. So Hunter Biden could have committed some unknown crime last night that Joe Biden would have no idea what it was, and he's pardoned for it. He could have killed a hooker last night, and he's pardoned for it. That's insane. And I'll say one thing, and then I want to play this video of Joe Biden bragging about blackmailing the Ukrainians into firing a prosecutor for not going along with stopping an investigation into Burisma, which was the company that his son Hunter was a board member for. And I lost my train of thought. So maybe we'll just play that video now. Let's do that. Maybe I'll come back to what I was talking about. But here's the video of Joe Biden. Let's make sure. I always have to double check. I don't think I had the audio on. One of these times I will get like really good at sharing this stuff and not have to. Here we go. All right, here's Joe Biden openly bragging about blackmailing Ukrainians into firing a prosecutor who was investigating his son. Check it out.
I was not but it just happened.
Well, some volume would be nice.
That was the assignment I got. I got all the good ones, so I got Ukraine, and I remember going over convincing our team, or others, to convincing us that we should be providing for loan guarantees. And I went over for, I guess, the 12th, 13th time to Kyiv, and I was supposed to announce that there was another $1 billion loan guarantee. And I had gotten a commitment from Poroshenko and from Yatsenyuk that they would take action against the state prosecutor, and they didn't. So they said they were walking out to press conference. I said, no, I'm not going to, we're not going to give you the $1 billion. They said, you have no authority. You're not the president. The president said. I said, call him. I said, I'm telling you, you're not getting the $1 billion. I said, you're not getting the $1 billion. I'm going to be leaving here. And I think it was 6 hours. I said, I'm leaving in 6 hours. If the prosecutor's not fired, you're not getting the money. Well, son of a bitch. Got fired.
That's ridiculous. Like, I've seen that before, but seeing that now, essentially blackmailing Ukrainians over $1 billion that is being sent from the U.S. government in order to stop an investigation into your son, and then openly bragging about it, and then doing a blanket pardon years later, which covers all of this. This is insanity. Like, this is total insanity. And it does seem like some Democrats are kind of waking up a little bit to what a lying scumbag Joe Biden is. I'm sure not many. Maybe it's 5 or 10%. The guy's been a liar and a scumbag his whole life. He built his whole 2020 campaign on the Fine People hoax, which is an easily disprovable lie. All you have to do is go back and look at the video of the press conference of Donald Trump. And Donald Trump clearly says, I disavow the white supremacists. But yet Joe Biden ran a campaign on it, saying Donald Trump never disavowed the white supremacists. It's crazy. Like, it doesn't stop with this guy. He's such a scumbag and blatantly corrupt. His brother has gotten rich off his name. His son's gotten rich off his name. Probably many other family members have gotten rich off his name. 10% back for the big guy. This covers up all the Burisma corruption, all the China corruption. Joe Biden has covered his tracks. He's going to be pretty much clean after this. There's not going to be any touching him. And I wouldn't be surprised if he pardons himself before he leaves office. And the interesting thing is, like, when you look at this, it keeps happening where Democrats utilize these tactics. They utilize lawfare to go after Donald Trump. Then during the campaign, they say Donald Trump is going to utilize lawfare when he gets in office. And then they say Donald Trump, if he gets in office, he's going to be an authoritarian on day one. He'll be a dictator on day one. What does Joe Biden do? He pardons his son for any crime ever committed, known or unknown, for a 10-year period, that many of those crimes could implicate himself or his family members in an array of criminal activity. It's wild, man. You wouldn't believe it if it wasn't actually happening right in front of your face. And it's just crazy also to see the liberals who are still backing Joe Biden. But the most fun that I've had is seeing some reaction from accounts on X. So I just got to share. I got like 4 or 5 to go through real quickly here of my favorites. This is this is kind of what we do on Fridays with Meme Wars. We'll show some videos and some memes of entertaining stuff. We haven't done Meme Wars for a little while, so I wanted to give you a taste on a Monday here on Finding Freedom of some memes that are criticizing Joe Biden's pardoning of his son Hunter. So starting off with a very, very funny account here. If you don't follow Antonio Brown on Twitter, I'm not sure what you're doing with your life. So Antonio Brown, he is at AB84. Of course, Antonio Brown, former Pittsburgh Steeler, New England Patriot, Tampa Bay Buccaneer, lost his mind on the field in the last game and took his jersey off and ran off the field shirtless. He's a crazy guy, but he's become a Trump supporter and is entertaining X account if you don't follow him. He tweets out underneath, quote tweeting Joe Biden's tweet from May 31st, where Joe Biden said, "No one is above the law." A picture of Elmo snorting a line of cocaine, saying Hunter Biden after being pardoned. Just classic Antonio Brown. You gotta love it. All right, and then I thought this was interesting to share here because there are Democrats who, I don't want to say they've woken up, but they are political animals and they want to survive. So they are doing what's in their best interest. And I'm sure a lot of Democrats see the tide is turning against this old guard, the Biden, Obama old guard, who have controlled the Democrat Party since 2008. So who's going to control the party next? Well, I think one guy is out in Colorado, and that is Jared Polis, the governor out there. You can see that he is already trying to separate himself from this, as he says, reacting to the Joe Biden pardon. He says, "Well, as a father, I certainly understand President Joe Biden's natural desire to help his son by pardoning him. I am disappointed that he put his family ahead of country. This is a bad precedent." I keep looking back and forth between screens and losing my place here because this one is much smaller than that one. Anyway, It's a bad precedent that could be abused by later presidents and will sadly tarnish his reputation. When you become president, your role is pater familias of nation. Hunter brought the legal troubles he faced on himself, and one can sympathize with his struggles while also acknowledging that no one is above the law, not a president, not a president's son. So I think this is interesting for a couple different reasons. One that I cited, I think this is Jared Polis trying to separate himself, right? Trying to be a little bit different. But also this thought that, well, as a father, I certainly understand President Biden pardoning his son. I understand that too. You know, I have a daughter. I'm a father. If I was president of the United States and there was some sort of, nonviolent crime my daughter had committed, she would be pardoned immediately. I would not have waited this long. I would have done it much sooner. With that being said, I would not grant my daughter free reign over a 10-year period for anything she may have done, unknown or known. That's just insanity. And I still can't believe that Joe Biden is getting away with doing this. It's completely insane. Imagine Donald Trump doing that for Donald Trump Jr. Donald Trump Jr., past 10 years, maybe, and I don't think Donald Trump Jr. has committed a crime, but if he had, for crimes he committed and crimes he didn't commit, whatever, it's all pardoned. Whatever he did, all of it, it's all good. Insane. So crazy. All right, some more reactions here. This is funny. This is a good one. All right, so this is from Sean Davis, and this is quote tweeting a tweet from Dr. Jill Biden back in October of 2020, where Jill Biden says decency is on the ballot. And he quote tweets, Joe Biden just pardoned Hunter Biden for sex trafficking underage prostitutes. That's true. That's true. This is the world we live in today. Unbelievable. Okay, now getting to, well, I also, there are a couple of these tweets that I'm showing. So they reference that Joe Biden, no one is above the law tweet. That now has a community note on it that says Joe Biden pardoned his son, Hunter Biden, of criminal convictions on December 1st, 2024. According to Joe Biden's actions, he and his son are in fact above the law. I love community notes on Twitter. It is fantastic. I can't get enough of it. Last one here. This one, I don't even really know what to say about this. It's just, I'll just read it. This is from Sean McGuire, who I have no idea who this is. He says, so what happens to the $300K plus in back pay rent that Hunter Biden owes my family from 2019 to 2020? Is that pardoned now? Thanks, Joe. Parentheses, this is a true story. Some guy responds this on Twitter. Wait, what? Sean McGuire responds, yep, true story. Hunter was our tenant in Venice, CA. Out by Brian McWilliams. Maybe he partied with Brian. Brian is signing an NDA not to talk about it. We'll have to ask him off air. He didn't pay rent for a year. Tried to pay with art made from his own feces. Absolute shitbag, literally and figuratively. That is what? What? I don't even know what to say about that. He tried to pay with art made from his own feces. And this is a guy who only 4 years ago tried to pay for rent with art made from his own feces, gets 10-year leeway for whatever he did. If you're a Democrat and you think this is okay, you're a complete lunatic. And I've seen, speaking of lunatics, Joe Walsh, who if you follow him on Twitter or you've seen any of his cable news interactions, complete moron. He was on some show with Dave Smith recently, and Dave just crushed him on Ukraine, Russia, which was great to see. But Joe Walsh, he had a tweet recently where he's just blown away that that Joe Biden has gone back on his word and he's pardoned Hunter Biden and he's like reevaluating his life. And Nate Silver had something similar when he's like, I voted for Kamala Harris, but this is now that Joe Biden's pardoned Hunter. This is a bridge too far. I'm paraphrasing, yada, yada, yada. I don't have the tweets in front of me. And I've seen many tweets like that from Democrats. They're like blown away that Joe Biden would do something like this. And what it reveals is that these people are either the dumbest people in the world, the most gullible people. And I'm not talking about like level of intelligence dumb. I'm talking about like not able to critically think, not having street smarts, to understand how the world works. Because obviously Nate Silver is a smart guy, very smart guy, much smarter than me from an IQ level. But like if you didn't know this already, like that this was going to happen, that Joe Biden was obviously going to pardon his son, I didn't know it would be to this extent. This is crazy. You're either have zero street smarts, you don't understand how reality works, or you're just a charlatan who is pretending to be this dumb in order to get yourself off the hook. And I'm not sure which is worse. I've been trying to figure that out. It's ridiculous. I think Joe Walsh is actually that dumb, and he doesn't have actual intelligence either. He's just a complete imbecile. I don't know how Joe Walsh has had any success with anything he's done in his entire life. The guy is a complete just goon. But anyway, that's a good note to end the show on. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this episode of Finding Freedom today. If you watched live on YouTube or X or Rumble, I appreciate it. Please share it around, tweet it, share it with a friend. As always, on Lions of Liberty, if you're watching or wherever you're listening, please be sure to subscribe, especially on YouTube and Rumble. Please hit that subscribe button, hit that notification button. Make sure that you get notified when we go live, when we release new videos. We are shadow banned, and you will not see our stuff unless you do that. Same thing on Twitter. Make sure you hit that notification bell so you get notified when we go live, so you can watch the great content that Brian and I are releasing here on a weekly basis. On Monday with this show, and on Wednesday with Brian's show, Mean Age Daydream. Of course, we also bring you every Friday Meme Wars, and by every Friday, I mean maybe 2 or 3 Fridays a month. Brian and I jump on with our legal counsel here at Lions of Liberty, Rico, to go through some memes trending in the news, just to talk about funny stuff happening, give you a little something light to go into your weekend with a laugh and a smile on your face, to de-stress you as you find your way out of a busy week. So that's the deal with Meme Wars. I talked about our promo at the top of the show for the Lions of Liberty Pride. Would love to have you in the Pride. Number one, Brian and I are looking at doing some pretty exciting things next year to supercharge Lions of Liberty back to the top of the podcast world. Would love to have you be a part of that. And like I said at the top of the show, if you join the Pride now, as an annual member, we will send you a Lions of Liberty Christmas mug. If you're already a Pride member and you want the Christmas mug, just change from paying monthly to paying annual, and you'll have a mug in the mail. Probably good also if you do that. If you're already a member and you change to annual, send me an email, john@lionsofliberty.com, so I 100% don't miss that you change from monthly to annual and you get your mug. Just because Patreon can be stupid about notifying me about things, and it can be not as easy as it should be to just see when someone changes from monthly to annual. They don't make it that simple, but it is what it is. Would love to have you in the Pride either way. So check it out. And with that being said, guys, I will be back next week. I did not make this show in under a half hour. We are at just under 45 minutes. So sorry for breaking my word. Next week, I'll be back with another awesome interview. I have, I think, 3 or 4 really interesting guests lined up, some of them with books, one with a very tragic but super important story about hospital misconduct and corruption. That's coming in, I believe, 2 weeks. So tune in, guys. Subscribe to the show. I'll see you next week. In the meantime, always remember to keep your head up and the fires of liberty burning.